Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. The Ticket Stub comes every Thursday on all podcast platforms. Thursday at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 from beautiful Conroe, Texas. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. The Ticket has a ticket sponsorship with the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas, and you can visit us at irlonestar.com for information about the show, or you can leave us a voicemail at 936-647-3776. Also, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. My name is Connor. I'm one of the hosts of the show. Joined in studio, as always, by my friend Chris Appel. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Yeah, how's life?
It's going.
Okay, so theater life. For those who don't know, Chris is the GM of the Grand Theater here in Conroe, and you're about to enter into what I would like to call your tax season, right? If you were an accountant,
our tax season,
this is your tax season.
It definitely is. Yeah, it's the busiest 2 weeks of the year usually. Well, it's more than 2. I think till January 8th or something, we're going to be really busy.
What percent? Do you have any guess? Like, what percent of your year money do you make in the month of December?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's not quite summer, but it's just more intense because it's packed together
in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, in like
summer
3
you have like several.
Yeah.
Summer's like peaks,
like
it hits
2-3 months, of summer, and this is really just about a month or so that we're pretty jam packed.
And so, what are the? I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about Star Wars and Cats. Is there anything else that's coming out that you think is going to be a huge hit over the next couple weeks?
Maybe Bombshell.
Yeah,
the Fox News movie about Roger Ailes. That might do pretty well for us.
Yeah, especially at your theater. You said you skew a little bit older, a little bit wider, a little bit Republican or something like that. And might be a lot of people interested in seeing that. Well, the other Dick is wandering all around. He's the producer of the show. He's usually got some last-minute crisis to fix. He'll join in, and we'll hear his lovely voice here in a few minutes. But he's got to get the cameras working. It seems like there's always something. When you have 8,000 wires running through a studio like this, it's just a matter of time until something doesn't quite work perfectly.
Yeah, a rat chews on something. You never know.
Filthy rats. Dick, thumbs up. You doing all right? Is there a camera on you right now? No camera. No audio.
Well, I have audio. I just have no camera.
Okay.
So I'm gonna adapt.
Adapt, react, readapt. All right, well, that's good. Well, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about movie news, and we're going to do some box office breakdowns, talking about what's coming up here this weekend and in the very near future. Then we're going to rewind, where we talk about the movies that we've seen over the last week or last couple weeks, and then we're going to do our top 3 depictions of Santa Claus, because it's almost Christmas time. And so we're trying to get in the holly jolly spirit here. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite Santas in movies. There's a lot to pick from. A lot of the, as I was doing my research, a lot of the lists were looking pretty similar. So I tried to pick a couple that weren't, right down the middle.
We should have included television too, because there's a few on there.
No, don't do that. That triggers Dick. that triggers Dick faster than anything else. If you even mention something that, even if it was a movie that's played on television, I think Dick doesn't like that. If TNT buys the rights to it.
Well, my review is an HBO movie. So
okay. Well, sorry. I hate to break it to you, but he's going to be upset. Let's do a little bit of box office breakdowns here, where we talk about some of the things that are coming out this week in theaters. The first one, it would be tough for us to not spend a little time talking about The Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars. This comes out tonight, so if you're listening live, or if you catch the podcast in time, it comes out really Thursday night, but Friday is the official day. This is going to be huge, right?
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely huge. No, the last one, did it hit the billion mark? The last Star Wars movie?
I'm not sure. I know Force Awakens, when it opened, that was the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah,
biggest opening weekend of all time.
A lot of anticipation, and then the second one, I feel like was just. People weren't like. The first one was good enough that people wanted to see the second one. I think the second one was good enough and had enough involved that people wanted to see this one. No, which one had Princess Leia floating through space? Was that the second one?
That was the second one.
Okay, that was super stupid. So that part I hope doesn't keep people away. In fact, that was the worst scene. I audibly laughed in the theater when that happened. You've seen the movie, right, Chris?
No, I haven't. I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I just never resonated with me. I was a Star Trek guy. So.
Okay, but you can't. It's like the biggest thing that's out right now.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've tried. I swear I have tried. I have forced myself to sit there and watch them, and I just don't get it.
Really?
And and it's not like it's too cool for me. It's not that kind of thing. I really did try. It's like Harry Potter is the same way. Like, it just never resonated with me, and I've really tried repeatedly.
Wow. Okay.
Well, when it came out, the originals, like, I think I was born 2 years after the first one.
The very first? I thought it was like 1980 or something.
It's like
77.
Oh no, I was not even born.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry.
So
I
you're
think
like-
no. I think it's Return of the Jedi. It was like
Okay.
1986 or 1987 or something like that. So I wasn't even around for that initial
Same with me.
nostalgic feel people have today. Where were you, Chris? We're like you're a little older than us, so like you had to have been at least 10 when.
No, I was not 10. But,
No, 10 when Return of the Jedi.
no, I was not.
Were you like
No.
5?
Return of the Jedi was 1983. 1983 was.
Oh,
Return
yeah,
of the
then
Jedi.
So
never
I
mind.
was- yeah, this was also before me. But
I didn't mean to do that. You know
No,
that, right?
I take it back. There is one Star Wars movie that I do like.
You were 10, right?
Return to Endor. Have you
Okay,
seen that?
You're so weird, Chris.
Yeah,
you
the TV one,
With
the
Drew
Ewok.
Barrymore. And
Yeah.
when she goes to the Ewok planet, I like that one. That's true. I
You
do.
would, yeah. Of course, you can't like one of the ones that's an actual movie. You have to like the.
That
weird,
is an actual movie.
Was it like in theaters movie?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. That's why you like that. The movie was called Return to Endor.
I think
Yeah,
so.
it was like a
yeah.
TV movie.
Okay,
With Drew
exactly.
Barrymore was in it.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Was she a child Drew Barrymore?
Yes. Yeah.
This
Well-
this is the most Chris thing that's ever happened. Where it's like the most popular movie franchise of all time. He doesn't have any, can't even watch them. Can't even stomach to watch them. But the one movie that nobody saw, which was on TV,
sounds Chris.
about them going to the
You're right.
Ewok world, that's 100% Chris.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. I want to let you guys know one of my buddies who I hope to get as a co-host or Austin Source. He's doing the 9-movie saga trilogy at the Alamo Draft House, where he's watching all 9
Golly.
back to
so
back.
They stay in their seat the entire time.
Well, we did the Lord of the Rings extended versions, and I think after each movie they gave us a 20-minute break. But those movies were like 3.5 hours each.
What time did it start?
Yesterday at one point. I mean, I got a text from his
And
wife.
it never stops.
No, like I got a text from his wife. She said she bowed out for 3, 4, and 4, 5, and 6, and she's just now getting back when they're starting the Last Jedi, or what is it called, the Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
Wow.
So I mean, if we assume that they average about 2 hours.
Yeah, a little 2 hours plus.
2 hours and
Yeah,
a
2.5
2.5
hours,
hours a pop on average, and so you're talking that they're watching 8 movies before they get to anything they haven't seen before. So let me do a quick math here: 18, that's or 8, that's 16,
we go.
and then another 8 hours on top of 16.
Well, he figures that
Carry
out.
the
24.
one.
Carry the one. That's like 24 straight hours before they even get to the new footage
Well,
that you haven't seen.
what's interesting to me too is imagine somebody watching all 9. I wonder how the
That might not be
episodes
right math, by
1
the way.
through 3 resonate, because I know 1 through 3 gets so much hate, and especially the newer ones get hate. But I'd be interested to see if you watch them all in order, does it really all connect, and do you get what's going on? Because there's individual problems with 1 through 3,
Yeah.
and also I mean there's individual problems.
Are
to
they
all of
watching them in chronological order?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That would be kind of interesting to do. I've never done it that way.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if you get more respect, because the wife definitely said, I really think Hayden Christensen's hot now, which is strange to me.
Yeah.
But
I tell you, if
I
I
think
watched
he's
9
hot.
movies in a row waiting for one I hadn't seen, I would not care. By
About
the time we
yeah.
got to the end of that, I would not even want to see the one I hadn't seen.
Well, so what I did one time at the Grand Theater was they showed Batman Begins and then The Dark Knight and then The Dark Knight Rises. No, that only sounds like 3 movies, but each of those is like three
like 3
hours
hours,
long.
yeah.
And so it was 6 hours about, because there was a short break, like a 15-minute break in between each movie. It was like almost 6 hours of just watching what I'd already seen, and then we watched the almost 3-hour Dark Knight Rises. And I will tell you, after that period of time, I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this. Don't really care that
what
much.
I enjoyed was the Lord of the Rings deal. The Helm's Deep battle was like, that was midway point. I was like, oh yeah. And then right when Return of the King started, I was like, man, this movie is just not as good as the Two Towers movie. Like, it's just not as good. And the extended versions add a lot of scenes that are,
it's only about 4 hours a piece.
yeah, and it's just, you're kind of like, oh, I get it. Man, this really is the journey, you know. But yeah, props to my buddy
So
Charles.
he took off work. He took off
Yeah,
work to
he's
go.
I've been trying to get him on here. He's probably the #1 movie person I know, because he loves going to the movies. I mean, like, he's not like your guy who used to work for you who knew all the weird stats and things. Like, he just loves going to the movies. And it's almost like he's the one guy who actually reads the sign up E's newsletter from Alamo Draft House and is like, oh, I gotta put that on my calendar. I gotta watch that documentary. Gotta go see that special screening of, that 35 millimeter of Aliens. Gotta go do that. He's one of those guys, and a lot of props to him. But he never was a Star Wars person, so he invited me. He literally called me at like 1 a.m. He got out of some special showing. He's like, hey, they're offering me 4 tickets. Like, it's already almost sold out. do you want to go to this?
Yeah, what did that cost? What was it?
And the Lord of the Rings one costs us like $30, I think.
Yeah.
And you can do like a $200 one where they feed you the whole time with like Hobbit food and stuff. But excuse me, sorry, I apologize.
So if it was Star Wars, would they feed you like
frozen space food?
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
Just pills.
I don't know.
Cheeseburger
Nerf
pills?
herder food. I don't know.
Herder.
But yeah, it was like I couldn't get over that. And doing those Star Wars movies and not being a huge fan, I guess that might be enjoyable because he probably hasn't really watched them.
Okay.
So
Kind of like seeing it. If it was all new, then that would maybe be better than if you'd seen it 100 times. That's a lot of watching. Okay, so just for us to take a guess, we have no idea. I mean, Dick, you haven't read spoilers or anything on Reddit. You don't know.
no
How do we think this is going to end? So we got the girl Ray.
disappointment.
And
Really? Like plot wise?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like how because this is called
The Last Jedi.
the Rise of Skywalker. Yeah,
whatever.
But so I mean, I think we're led to assume, or maybe it even revealed, that she's part of Luke's family somehow. Maybe Luke's daughter.
There's got to be
something.
some connection between episode 4, 5, and 6. Someone's got to be connected somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So,
well, what's his name? The fake Darth Vader is already.
Well, we know Palpatine's going to be in this one, so in one form or another, because they had that during the trailer. There was that laugh at the end,
Okay.
which was the Senator
Yeah.
Palpatine or
Yeah.
the Emperor.
But he's dead though. He died.
But that's what I'm saying. He's going to come back in one form or another, and I think they've also, since we're talking about these movies, I think that's where they went wrong with hiring different directors and screenwriters, because like all the enemies in the newer ones, you didn't really know who the enemy was.
Yeah.
You got like the bad guys, but you didn't know who like the central character. You got that Snook character. You're like, who is this guy? They don't tell us anything about it, and then it's like, okay, you're waiting for that big reveal. Who's the puppet master of these new movies?
Well, doesn't Thanos comes out at some point, right? And he somehow.
I hope so.
I think he is.
Is he tied into this?
Jar Jar Binks is coming back, I heard too. So
He is the ultimate villain.
yes.
You know, it's funny. I was reading. Now, I guess it's not really fan fiction, and I might even be the writers, but Jar Jar Binks apparently in one storyline was hung because if you remember, they all voted
Yeah.
for Senator Palpatine to come in power, and apparently there was a big backlash in the Senate. Like whoever voted yes, similar to the impeachment vote.
Oh,
no, I'm just
wow.
kidding. Political talk on no, but no. I remember someone wrote that, and people loved it. They're like, yeah, he deserves because he basically caused all like the genocide that the Empire, went to town on episode 4, 5, and 6.
Swing state, man. Swing planet. Well, so I mean, when it ends, is there going to be Jedi left? Are they all going to die? Is it going to Is it going to start all the way over? You think it's all times this flat circle and everything?
I would be absolutely shocked if this was a definitive ending at all.
So you think there's another trilogy to come?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, really,
I feel like once you have a trilogy of trilogies, isn't that enough? Like how much?
Well,
how
the
much do
smart
you
thing
really
they
need?
would do is similar to what they're doing with all the minor characters in the older Star Wars. They're bringing them back in different forms. Like the Mandalorian features some old characters, so it's like they're not the main.
Baby Yoda memes are.
Well, they're
hot
not.
right
well, they're
now.
not like
Those
the
are- I
focus
love
points.
those.
My wife.
I can't get enough.
My
of
wife
those.
has watched 0 seconds of the Mandalorian, but she loves the Baby Yoda.
Same
memes.
thing with me. Yeah. Same thing with me.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to talk a little bit about Cats. Cats, the movie is coming out this weekend as well, I believe, right, Chris?
Yes.
And
Tonight.
So we're gonna double up here with movie news and box office breakdown. I just want to tag on an
I'm
article.
sorry. Can you read? Let him read the title. Can we read the title of that article? You have it there.
Yeah, so it's from Slate.com. It says the Cats movie is a void of horny confusion. And what I love about this article, here's the most clickbaity title of all time, because the article doesn't really reference the title. It doesn't seem like it just goes on to talk a lot about like this movie versus the stage play and how it's a really strange story, but it's found a way to kind of captivate people. And some of they've taken some liberties in the movie, obviously, that aren't in the play, and just how.
I hope so.
Well, okay. Have you seen the play? I never have.
I've seen parts of it.
Okay. I just know that song, that one.
Yeah.
Memories.
You know how I know it's there's a chance that could be popular because we were getting a delivery at the theater the other day, and the driver was singing that song.
Wow.
While he was unloading the
So if
the stuff.
if the everyman, if the
Yeah,
driver,
that's what I'm saying. They had like an every guy, and he was like belting it out, and people are like, "What in the world?" Like, because he was in front of the building.
yeah,
And-
was he good?
And the
How
people
did
are
he
like,
sound?
he was good.
Okay.
He
Well, maybe
was.
he's like a community theater. Oh, bye, Dick. Maybe he's like a community theater guy, and then he drives trucks to pay the bills. Don't judge him. You don't know anything about him.
He might be, yeah.
Okay, well, this movie. Chris? What do you think, man? Give me a hot take here.
Boy, it's not a hot take. I think I'm along with everybody else there.
Give me a hot Duke on this one.
Gosh, there's been good musical movies, and there's been bad ones.
Okay, yeah.
Like I think the Les Mis one, even though it's not like the play, it did pretty good. It was all right.
That one.
The Phantom of the Opera one, pretty awful. Great music, but it was
Why can't they
horribly
make a good
You mean you
Phantom?
didn't like Gerard Butler? That was like his debut.
Oh my gosh, he's tone deaf. I mean, I don't know why you would do that, but this one
They should
is
have done
just
Bronson.
kind of
Bronson, what's his name?
Who?
Your James Bond guy.
Pierce Brosnan.
They should have had
Oh,
him
he's
be-
also tone deaf.
Oh, I
yes.
thought you liked him.
No. He's also.
So you're
tone
okay
deaf.
with the tone?
He was in
deaf
Mamma
one?
Mia, right?
Yeah,
He
that
was
was a
in Mamma
joke.
Mia.
Singing off key.
Yep, he
Well,
was.
go ahead, Chris.
But this is just in a different league of weirdness.
The old thermometer at Rotten Tomatoes has it at a good 17%. So that's a tough start. Who's this movie for? Is it for musical people? Is it for just like
It has to be.
yeah?
Well, I think the success of certain Broadway plays over, it's been out for 20 years plus, right?
Yeah.
So
long time.
people have definitely seen it. So there's enough people out there who will go check this out because they've seen the play. And it's not even like a local play. Like the only time you really got to see it is if you lived in a major city that could afford the production of it.
Yeah.
So there is an audience for it. I just don't know. I think what's going to not resonate is the CGI.
It looks iffy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like people are just kind of like off put by it. And I think if they went I think Chris talked about this in an earlier episode. If they went more for practical effects, it probably would have done.
If the costumes
it'd
just
been
looked
more
like they
well
did.
received.
I don't know.
Like they don't have noses. They don't have cat noses. So or a couple of them do. A couple of them don't.
Yeah.
So
Hollywood, if you're listening,
They are.
stop.
no, they should do it.
Just
Stop listening?
No, stop
Oh.
making musicals into movies. Just stop.
Well, but see,
It never works on the way that
Are you serious?
it should work. Yeah.
There's so many proven movies that like Les Mis.
That was okay.
Even France made their own version for this
wasn't
year's
great.
Oscars. So
Which one?
that France made their own Les Mis or whatever.
Stop. It's Les Mis.
Les Mis. Les Mis.
Les
And
Mis
it's
is
they.
different.
I think it's up for an Oscar shortlist for song and
It never
know.
does the play justice, and I think it just it takes credibility away from the musicals because all of those musicals they make in movies are really good when you watch them on stage.
what about Chicago? It won a bunch of Oscars.
That was boring.
It's better on stage.
I'm not a Broadway person, so it's my approach to it is if it's enjoyable. Like I have no desire to see this Cats movie. No desire. I don't care what happens to the cats. I think it'd be hilarious if they got eradicated. That'd be a fun movie. It's like the bad guy is the the local.
And so the plot, I didn't realize the plot is that they're getting taken up to like kind of heaven or something. That's what this article was saying. Like there's a select few of the cats that get taken to like a better place.
Very
From
weird.
what I understand, it's a city community of cats, and there's like a religion kind of thing in it.
Yeah, it's about like heaven or something.
So
like
they
that.
believe only certain. What? Who cares?
I
Next story.
I like the
We're
article.
going on to the next.
I like
story.
the article because it was like, and a lot of people are left to wonder. There's a cat bar where they serve milk. Where did that come from? Who built that? This actually was supposed to exist. Okay, so the next start, Gizmodo.com has an article that there is a streaming movie service. So listen up, guys. Streaming movie service that costs $2,500 a flick. The headline says it's struggling to find enough plutocrats, which is a way to make fun of rich people, basically. But so what you do is, if you're super rich, if you're part of
Our community.
I don't think it's a community. I think
it's a one time. It's kind of like how they charge like pay-per-view at bars. So if you have a
I think
venue,
this is for individual people, I believe. From what it sounds like, is that you sign a contract and there's a $15,000 startup fee. This is almost like a country club. A $15,000 startup fee, and then about $2,500 per movie to skip having to go to the theater, and then they'll bring it to you, or they'll give you the capabilities to play this in your home theater, in your backyard, projector. I guess you could.
so
do
they
it.
provide all this stuff.
Well, it was a little bit unclear as to whether they give you like a movie quality projector or not. But they require that you have a credit card with a limit of at least $50,000. So that gets me out.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so they were hoping to have like 3,000 people sign up for this. And so
I can see James Franco doing this, so they can
That's
come.
the dumbest
That's the
thing
only
I've
way they
ever
can watch James Franco movies.
This
Did
is
you
the
watch his own
dumbest
movie?
business model I've ever
Well,
heard.
so far it's not doing like they hoped it would.
You think?
I think their point in this article, I don't know if you had a chance to read the whole article, but the guy's like, you could get a purse for $20, but people stand in line to buy a $25,000 Hermes bag because they want the experience and the brand. We're kind of like that. It's like,
well, Chris,
so.
if I called the Grand Theater and I'm like, hey, can I rent the theater to watch a movie? That's not going to cost me this much money, is it?
No.
I mean, if you wanted to do that, do you just have to buy every single ticket, or can you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because you can't rent a theater and play a first-run movie.
No, I mean, we have to ring up the tickets because that's part of the studio's money. So if you're watching a current release, you have to buy every seat. Or however many seats of the people that are watching the film.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
And so if you assume there's like maybe 50 seats in a theater, just as a make up a number, and then you
have like 35 people coming, you pay for 35, and then
you just times it by 10. So I mean, for under $1,000, you could rent an entire theater at the Grand.
Yeah.
Or you could pay a $15,000 startup fee. But part of this isn't just that; it's that you're too rich to want to go to the theater. You don't want to have to rub elbows. You don't want to get the bubonic plague from all of the unwashed masses at the theater.
If you're that rich, aren't you living in a nice area that probably has really upscale,
well, maybe.
theaters?
But here's my thing. Aren't people who are that rich probably getting like screeners to these movies anyways? Like, if you're that rich and powerful...
I'm sorry. If I had that much money, watching movies would be the last thing that would be on my mind. I would just be...
What would be on your mind, Chris?
I would be off yachting.
Ooh.
And...
You ever watch Below Deck? That's a good TV show.
No.
TV Stub.
I would be doing that.
And buying watches?
I would be. Yeah.
How many watches? If I gave you $1 billion today, how many watches would you have tomorrow?
A lot.
I buy one because I don't need one.
Yeah, that is true. Yes, there's a lot to be said for that.
Did they all tell time the same?
They do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, this one only loses a second every 4,000 years, but this one only loses a second every 10,000 years. That's pretty practical.
That is a debate. Yeah,
it's a pretty practical difference. I have an Apple Watch, and Steve Jobs just updates the time daily, so it's never wrong. What do you think?
You
gotta
charge it though.
Yeah,
you do have to charge. It's not kinetically charged yet. They haven't found it. Ooh, that'd be a good thing for Apple if they sucked some of your life force into the watch.
I bet some people would let it happen.
Yeah, I would let it happen. Yeah, I'll just eat eat a little bit extra every day, a few extra calories, turn that into watch power. Heck yeah, dude. A little cancer maybe later on.
And everyone starts wearing turtlenecks all of a sudden. They're like, what's going on with these watches?
So we're out on the $2,500 a movie.
Oh yeah. No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, we're not plutocrats apparently.
No.
Sorry, Gizmodo.com.
What is that? Plutocrats? Like you live on Pluto because you're dumb enough to pay that? Is that what?
I don't know exactly.
Where's your sense of adventure, dude?
Plutocrat is a person whose power...
If I had that kind of money, I'd have a sense of adventure, probably.
Plutocrat is a person whose power derives from their wealth.
Oh.
So
new term.
A plutocracy is a society that is ruled or controlled by people of great wealth or income.
Well, that's
the term was first known in English date from 1631. Unlike a system such as democracy, capitalism, or socialism, anarchism, plutocracy is not rooted in established.
Oh,
yeah. So there you go.
Yeah,
the more you know. Let's go to break. When we come back, we're going to do our rewinds, where we talk about the movies we've seen over the last week. What movie did you bring, Chris?
I have an HBO documentary called Mel Brooks.
Very smart.
Unwrapped.
Okay. I watched a little movie called Dr. Sleep. Dick, you watch a movie this week?
I watched the Netflix produced A Christmas Prince, The Royal Baby.
Oh.
I almost watched a documentary called Don't F with Kittens or something like that. Yeah. You heard about that one?
Yeah. Holly wanted to watch it.
Yeah, we can talk about it later. All right, stick with us here on The Ticket Stub.
Know that there are over 153 million orphans in the world today. The sad reality is 99% of those kids will likely never be adopted. Core Love is an organization right here in Conroe that takes care of orphan children in Haiti, Honduras, and India. We bring the love of Jesus by providing their 6 basic needs of clean water, proper food, healthcare, education, job skills, and a loving home. Visit corelove.org. That's CORELUV.org. Will you help defend the orphan?
The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas.
With 18 locations around the country, the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas bring you the latest in state-of-the-art projection and sound,
including Fathom events and Flashback Cinema.
Did you know your local Grand or Amstar Cinema serves a wide variety of adult beverages?
And some even have a full bar.
And moms, they didn't forget about you. They also have a large selection of wine to help you get through those kids' movies.
Visit your local Grand or Amstar Cinema today.
What can the Better Living for Texans program do for you? You can learn how to increase your consumption of fruits and vegetables, choose foods that are relatively inexpensive and good to eat, make your food dollars last longer, prepare quick, nutritious meals, help your children learn how to eat healthier snacks, and much more. Our program is committed to helping people like you improve your health through providing research-based nutrition education in a friendly, cost-free, and relaxed environment. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your questions. Get seen on TV, YouTube, and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Support your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Is there someone you know who is hooked on vintage aircraft? Follow the Commemorative Air Force and its fleet of World War II planes, including the mighty B-17 Flying Fortress Texas Raiders, which is based in Conroe, Texas. Texas Raiders tours locally and all around the United States, offering the public a chance to put their hands on aviation history. What could be a more perfect gift than a flight on a historic B-17? Taking to the sky on the iconic bomber is an experience that will never be forgotten. For the touring schedule, reservations, or more information, go to b17texasraiders.org or call 855-FLY-A-B-17.
We're back on the ticket stub. If you missed this last segment, we talked a little bit about Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, our feelings about that. We talked a little bit about Cats and our other feelings about that. And then we talked a little bit about the plutocrats who pay $2,500 a piece to have first-run movies shown in their private theater. And, it's kind of they are the 1%, if you know what I'm saying, right? We're going to go occupy Hollywood to take over. Now we're going to do the part of the show where we rewind the movies that we've seen in the last week. Chris, you saw something a little interesting, a documentary, as you called it?
A documentary, yes, on HBO. It came out last Friday.
Okay, so new, very new.
Yeah, it's very new. It's called Mel Brooks Unwrapped, and it takes a look back at the legendary career of award-winning actor, writer, producer, and director Mel Brooks, as told through his hilarious and insightful interviews with producer Alan Yentob, former creative director for the BBC. That's a mouthful, but
Mel Brooks is a good, is he still alive guy?
He is still alive.
Okay.
Yes.
So is this a lot, these interviews were today or recent?
No, well, see, I thought the documentary was going to be like a retrospective of his life, but it's just old interviews and archival footage from his old interviews he did with the BBC. BBC is a channel over in England.
Oh,
so I guess they came and did some interviews with him. There's some of it that's
tell us more about this BBC.
Yes,
Chris.
British Broadcasting Company.
Okay.
There's some of it that's new and interesting. There's a scene where he goes to Whole Foods and somebody recognizes him. Just this girl recognizes him. She's like, "Oh, you're Mel Brooks," and he's like, "Oh yeah, I am." That's pretty neat.
Sounds hilarious.
It's great.
Oh, there's this one really funny scene. He sounded kind of Norm Macdonald-y right there. You're like, "Hey, that's great. Yeah, he's a Whole Foods."
And then he goes to Carl Reiner's house and they eat spaghetti and meatballs. I know I'm making this.
Was that
sound
pretty
great.
hilarious?
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious too.
Wait, what?
And they watch old videos of themselves performing together, and so that's pretty neat. There's an ant on my paper.
Okay, well that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So the big takeaway of this documentary for me is you get a reminder of how sharp and how funny Mel Brooks is, off the cuff, just without scripts or anything. He's just naturally funny, and the director kind of chose this to celebrate all of the work that they did together, because all the interviews that they show there are all from this Alan Yentob guy, including the current one. So it's kind of a celebration of them working together, and I think that's a pretty neat approach. But I think everybody should watch this documentary just to be reminded like what comedy is supposed to be and what funny is.
Okay.
It's nice to kind of get back to the classic way of making people laugh without doing it the way it's done primarily nowadays.
What,
So-
have sixth
Okay,
graders
Grandpa.
say bad words?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Grandpa Appel over here.
No,
is
but
gonna,
I'm sorry, but anybody would find that funny. Mel Brooks is a legend,
He's
and
funny.
there's nobody like him. There never will be anybody else like him.
So what's this have to do with Christmas?
Nothing.
It's
I
called
didn't know what we
Unwrapped.
were
It's
supposed
called
to do.
No, you're not supposed to. I just when you said Mel Brooks Unwrapped, I thought it was for some reason I thought Presents because it's Christmas.
Yeah, he pops
Oh, I
out
thought it
of
was
he
a
pops out of the
sexy
gift.
movie.
Oh, why
yes.
that? Why that?
Yeah.
You guys don't know? No, I'm just kidding.
Because of Mel Brooks,
Yeah.
he's a sexual icon for many.
Yeah.
Well, I love Mel Brooks' movies, and so I would be interested in this one. Is there a plot? Is there a point? Like what?
No, there's not.
Normally-
no.
okay.
I thought it was going to be like, oh, Mel Brooks started, and there's a little bit of that, but most of it's just him
Just him
doing
talking.
funny interviews. And I don't know if it's outtakes from interviews they did or whatever, but that's the majority of the movie. But it's really funny. It's definitely worth watching.
So no Russian collusion comes about in this one. They don't stumble across a scandal of
I
any
think
sort.
the reason this was done is because he had started doing Young Frankenstein the musical over in England.
Yeah.
And I think this was kind of done to plug that coming up. So I think that's what
Give
it
it a
was.
little-
But it was still really good.
It'd be awesome if you were famous enough, like when you got old, if someone just made a documentary of like all of your interviews that were really funny. Like,
oh yeah,
that's a great reel for him if he's ever like feeling like down about his career, just to go watch. Oh, let me watch something about how great I am.
Yeah.
little pump up, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, we all been there.
We've all
Yeah. It's real good. It's an hour and 10 minutes, so that's right up
tight.
my alley
All right.
there. So.
Yeah, it's like a comedy special almost.
Yeah.
You watch it on your phone or something?
No, I watched it on the television.
That's what did I see?
Did you pay $25,000 to watch it on television?
I did not. No, I paid my normal HBO subscription to see it.
I saw something. It was like I'm gonna watch whatever movie it was. Oh, The Irishman. I think I told you all this. I'm gonna watch The Irishman like Scorsese intended on my 4-inch iPhone in 20-minute segments while I'm taking poops on the. You know. That's how we want. You know, they make these cinematic masterpieces, and everybody watches them on their 4-inch smartphone in the bathroom with the coworker next to them or whatever. All right, Dick, what did you watch this week? You said
I watched. A couple years ago on the Ticket Stub, we did a
Group Rewind.
Group Rewind. So I did
The Christmas Prince.
the Christmas Prince,
That's how you're
man.
supposed to pronounce it.
So I really did not like it.
Well, I believe you.
No, overall, I would say if you like these kind of movies, it's.
What do you mean these kind of movies?
Let's say it's supposed to be kind of like a what do you call it? Like a Hallmark kind of movie.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about it and while the John Schultz directed this one, he's probably the most well-known director because he did Drive Me Crazy with Melissa Joan Hart and that guy from Entourage. That's probably his highlight of what he's done. He's done the previous Christmas Prince, The Royal Wedding. You can find this on Netflix. One thing that's amazing to me about this movie is it has an actress on it who's really well known. And she's more of those stage people. Alice Krieg. She's an older actress, and she's in Star Trek, I think Resurrection with the Borg.
Oh, she's the Borg woman?
Yeah, she's the Borg queen.
Yeah, the queen?
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember watching a documentary on it, and she's like basically talking about she's above it. She's above all this stuff.
She's not above
She
that.
hated it,
Not
and then
above
I'm
that
like, why are
paycheck,
you in
though."
this movie? Because this movie is so cheesy. There's no risk to it. It's hilarious now when people are trying to write a diversity style movie.
Oh, I remember this girl.
And they make it up. They made it like it. The movie itself is really strange because they live in a made up country. There's made up royalty rules and all this kind of stuff. But
yeah, hers the Borg gave me some mixed feelings as as a teen because there was like not really a gender assigned to the Borg, and anyway.
That's why they try to stretch her out as much as possible. I think she still has the same stretch in this movie.
The face.
The face is it's still there. But if you enjoy the other Christmas Prince, I mean, do you really care what happens at the end of their life? I mean, I wanted them to go to war. That's what I wanted because that was the threat. The plot of the movie is it's Christmas time in Aldovia, which is a made-up country. A royal baby is on the way. Amber and Richard host royals from a distant kingdom to renew a sacred truce. But when the treaty vanishes, peace is jeopardized. I was like, heck yeah, let's go to war. But
was peace ever jeopardized?
No, I mean, like, it's like, again, it's a Hallmark movie. So even when, like, it was vanished, the other royal people who were from, like, an Eastern country, they were like, oh, it's okay. Like, we're not.
I mean, peace has vanished, but, like, we're not going to war. We're just going to be mad at you for a little while.
Well, because, again, they play that there's a New York in this movie. So there is thing of the globe. And so they made up these two countries. Aldovia is like a frozen country. It's like, they have a winter. The other country that they're visiting reminds me of, like, it's over in Singapore or something. Okay. So even if they weren't, had a treaty, like, really what's going to happen here? So
what would make this movie good is if they actually made it like, Iran and then, like Sweden, or like pick two countries and really stir the pot a little bit, like talk about how terrible one is and how great the other is.
But everyone's happy in this movie, so now I'm sorry.
Do you remember when we talked? So I looked back in the archives when we talked about the Christmas Prince, and it was a long time ago, December of 2017. But we referenced an article from HelloGiggles.com.
Well, you do like those weird websites
that said Christmas Prince is the best Netflix movie ever made, and if you disagree, you're wrong. That was the article. I think I'm wrong, I guess, because I would disagree that.
Well, they made three of them. I'm curious. Production side of this movie is how much they actually paid these people, because a majority of them are acting like they didn't want to be there.
Well, I'm sure that they didn't want to be there, but they got paid just enough to say yes, probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I watched a little movie called Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep. Is this out of theaters now, Chris?
It is indeed.
Okay, yes. Dr. Sleep. So I saw this one a couple weeks ago while it was still in theaters. This is the sequel to The Shining. IMDb says years following the events of The Shining, a now adult Dan Torrance must protect a young girl with similar powers from a cult known as the True Knot. I actually didn't know that was their name until just now. Not made very clear. But they prey on children with powers to remain immortal. So basically there's these people who, like, they suck your life force out, called your steam, and they, like, breathe it in, and it helps keep them alive forever. This was very interesting. I think they did a pretty good job. I liked this movie overall. I think they did a pretty good job tying it into the original Shining. And they did, what I was surprised, a pretty good job capturing some of the same feel of the first one. Where, I mean, the first Shining is a horror movie, but it's not, like, scary the whole time, And I think this one did a pretty good, like I keep saying pretty good job. But, I think it had some of that same feeling to it. Obviously not a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Well, I know they use the same music, right?
Yeah, definitely. If not the exact same tracks, I mean, just people playing the same notes. It was a little bit interesting to me. I didn't understand the full scope and sequence of why they had replay or flashbacks of stuff, but they would use other actors, like modern actors, who looked pretty similar, and it was kind of confusing at first because, like, the very first scene, or one of the very first scenes, is something like that, and I didn't understand if it was supposed to be like a parallel universe or time repeating itself. But they do it over and over again, and it's a little bit distracting at times. At one point they end up back at the Overlook Hotel in this movie in the present day, and Ewan McGregor, who's little Danny boy, he goes to the bar in the Gold Room where Jack Nicholson has the drink with Lloyd, and there's someone sitting there, and it's obviously supposed to be like the spirit of Jack Nicholson, but it's a different actor who looks pretty like Jack Nicholson, who does a pretty. I just wondered with the Irishman technology, why they couldn't have deep faked these people or something like that.
Well, is it in his head, or is it really because I'm sure as a child your memories don't look exactly like.
Well, so I heard one person say that maybe it's something like, how well do you really remember what your dad looked like if he died when you were like 5 years old or whatever. Yeah. But there's other scenes where it's not. I guess maybe they're all memories. Maybe they're all flashback memories from Dan. And so maybe in that regard, like, you don't really know what your mom looked like when she was little or something, when you were little. To me, it was just as a viewer, and maybe that's a statement they were trying to make, and if so, good on them for doing that. But for me, watching it as just somebody sitting in the seat, I was going, this is kind of distracting, because the whole time I'm thinking, like, oh, you kind of look like that, like the crazy girl who was the mom and stuff, but a little bit not. And even like the decaying woman in the bathtub plays a role here, and they got a little bit a little bit member-berry, if you watch South Park, a little bit of kind of trying to plug in. You always imagine the person sitting next to someone who hasn't. Hey, that's from the original. That's from the original. It got a little bit too much there, but overall, I liked this movie. There was a graphic scene. Who's that little boy from Room?
Jacob Tremblay.
Yeah, I think it was him.
He's in it.
I think he has I'm pretty sure it was him. But like you thought he was going to be a major character, and not to spoil anything, but he dies. And the evil people who are the obvious bad guys, there is a brutal scene where they slowly, because apparently when they suck your aura out, the more afraid you are, the like riper the aura is or whatever. So there was a scene that was tough to watch where they are torturing this boy, and he's a good actor. Anyways, all in all, I liked this movie. It had some intensity. It was interesting. I thought they did a good job carrying it on. I was worried because I really liked the first one a lot, but I think they didn't mishandle it. Obviously, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't stand side by side with The Shining, but it's a really good movie in my opinion.
I've been wanting to see that, so I'm going to check it out for sure.
Definitely, I'd be interested to know, especially you like horror a lot more, and again, like I said, it's not like lots of scary moments, but it's just got that same. I would say it's got that same kind of baseline, like just anxiety maybe that the first one had, and the music I think is a big part of that, and they do use a lot of the same music as well. So pretty cool. All right, well, let's spend a few minutes talking about Santa Claus.
Okay.
It
is Christmas is coming
up. Can I ask you
up.
a question just briefly?
Please.
Are y'all doing Santa with the kids?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think
we
that's
don't
good.
do Santa, Chris. I mean, he just
he just
comes.
really funny, Chris?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did Santa with our dog.
That's good.
But what was funny is we go to PetSmart or Petco or one of those places, and
like a picture with Santa. What do you mean?
Picture with Santa with your dog.
Okay.
And
I had this discussion with my wife, and she's like, "No, you shouldn't do that.
Why?
Because of school." And someone might say something that's not what you're telling the kids.
Well, no, Chris,
like-
you'd be glad to know that majority of the people there taking pictures of Santa didn't even have pets.
At Petco?
Yeah.
They went to Petco with like their kids?
Oh, that's good.
So they just heard there was a Santa somewhere, and they just...
Good.
Okay.
Good. I think that's part of the magic of being a child.
Are you a big Santa guy?
Yeah.
No, I will say, so my stepdaughter, Elle, is 8, and I do worry a little bit about the transition to adulthood. That I don't know how many years away it is. There are kids in her public school who say things that go against what we know and believe to be true.
Right.
And so we have to do some resetting. But there will be a point where she moves out of adolescence, and I've never walked through that on the parent side of things. I don't remember that as a child. I don't remember how much. Maybe at some point you just are kind of like it's not that big of a deal anymore or whatever.
What it should be is an IQ check. You don't
believing,
tell them.
that's what I say.
Yeah, you don't tell them anything,
Yeah.
and then if they figure out for themselves,
Then you put them in the gifted and talented program.
They'll put those feelings somewhere. Hopefully, it's positive. Like, it's a spirit. Like when I was growing up, I eventually figured out Santa wasn't real, but I understood. I understood the spirit of it, like the giving and like family and like kids, and I got it. So I was like, oh, that's a positive thing. I didn't like overreact and start, asking if this is reality, Matrix stuff, but
Matrix stuff.
Santa Matrix style.
Well, Santa still comes. I don't know. I mean, what you're talking about, he still visits my house on Christmas Eve. And
Yeah.
dude, that'd be
drops off
so
the
cool if I
presents.
met somebody like that.
Yeah. So, anyways, so that's where we're at with everything. Chris, so we're gonna do our top 3. Do you have 3, Chris?
Yes.
Dick, do you have 3?
I have 3.
Awesome. We're each gonna do our top 3 depictions of Santa Claus in movies. And anyways, so we'll just start here. Number 3 for me. This is one, a little bit of recency bias here. I went through the list, and like I said, I didn't want to just hit the ones that showed up on so many. I probably looked at 5 different lists, and a lot of them had a lot of the same movies, and a couple of those are ones that I've selected because they are some of my favorite. I mean, they're on the list for a reason. But I wanted to have one that was a little bit different that would expose people to a movie maybe they haven't seen. One that me and my family watched recently. It's a new movie on Netflix called just Claus, Klaus, an animated movie about Santa, kind of an origin story of Santa. Interesting take on things. Everybody's looking for their edge, their take on how to tell the Santa story. But this is about a man who is trying to become a postmaster, and so they send him off to like the worst assignment a postman could ever have. And it was this town in the northern of all north, and no one uses the mail, and he has to mail 10,000 letters before he's allowed to come back home and get his inheritance or whatever it is. And I mean, very rock solid plot. But he encounters a man who'd built all these toys for his child who passed away, and it became his way of coping. And that man ends up becoming, that is Santa, and then they end up using the letters to, anyways, the whole thing happens. But I like the telling of Santa there because it's a more like human side. Like you hear about Santa who's gone through some difficult times, and Santa who, wasn't always happy.
Humanizes
him. Yeah, it puts a little more, or I guess it deepens the story a little bit. This movie's Santa version doesn't match very well with the real story of who Santa is, right? Because it's just
Saint Nick,
jolly old, and but I just thought it was interesting. I was glad that somebody took a little bit different route, and I watched it with my kids, and they know that that's probably not what really what they think happened, but they didn't. It was just entertaining, and so I appreciate that for those reasons. So Santa, it's called Claus. It's on Netflix. Check it out if that sounds interesting. Chris, what was your number 3?
Number 3 for me is Kurt Russell in Christmas Chronicles.
Oh,
yeah.
Came out last year.
I have not seen it.
It's a great. You haven't?
No. I
Oh,
haven't.
it's so good. It's so good. Christmas Chronicles on Netflix came out last year.
Is it actually good, or is it like?
No,
I would say
Chris, it's really good.
Is it indoor good? Battle of Indoor good, or? Is it...
Well, I don't know about that, but it's really good.
Okay.
Because new Christmas movies are hard.
Yeah.
To do because there's been such great ones over the years, but this definitely is right up there for sure.
All right, Dick.
And
cool.
I think they're making a second one,
Well-
I believe.
Well, good.
I know this is probably on your list. It's Tim Allen's The Santa Claus.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
I left
1,
that
2,
one off
and
my
3.
list. Yeah, I left that one off on
I
purpose.
thought I just liked it because it was like an origin kind of story. World building was cool. All 3 movies are not. I mean, the third one's kind of odd, but that's because Tim Allen couldn't star the movie. He had to have somebody else.
Oh, he wasn't in the third one.
Well, he was, but he wasn't the star. Like he
okay.
co-starred with Martin Short, I believe. But again, that's what happens when you're trying to write and you're like, what else can we involve? I think he was Jack Frost in the movie. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
But the first one's really good. I think that would be like a staple if you're going to watch a Christmas movie.
Yeah, some
that'd
good fish out of the water scenes there with that one.
Yeah.
I like when he shaves and then he goes back to the mirror and his beard grows back like instantly or like
Yeah.
over the course of the day.
Well, I mean, again, there's a lot of good memories in that movie. A lot of well-written scenes. Like, oh, you didn't read the fine print
Yeah.
on the car. Like, that's really funny.
Yeah.
But then especially with the son knowing he's Santa Claus and like, and I love the delusion, Judge Reinhold, who's the stepfather.
Judge Reinhold.
Well, I mean,
it's like a before and after.
Well, no, think about the step parents or not step parents. The other parents are like, our kid's delusional. He thinks you're Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like this is something
Yeah.
that every family goes through. But I would say Tim Allen.
Chris, you have that sweater, right? The
Here's
Judge Reinhold.
one of them.
Well, from Santa Claus 2, one of them, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Number 2 for me, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, 1964 claymation. The Santa Claus from that.
I thought about putting that.
That to me, that's a classic look at who Santa is. He's got the giant beard, big old belly, and I don't know that movie. I'm kind of burned out on that claymation Rudolph movie, and it's such a staple. It's kind of almost too much, but I do love that version of Santa Claus. I think it's just I don't know. That's just so like. It's on point, it's exactly what you want it to be as far as Santa goes. Chris, number 2.
Number 2 for me, Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's a classic or whatever.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
but-
you've got to see that. It's so good. It's so good. Billy Bob Thornton's so awesome in that movie. It was really good and an unusual Christmas movie because it's very offensive. And he's not.
That was my
actually
number 2.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He's not actually Santa, but I don't know. And the kid is great.
Dick, why'd you make
the
it?
little chubby
Why'd
kid.
you put it on there?
Because I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, even though it didn't really have the mystical Santa Claus, which we all kind of expect from a Santa Claus movie, but I mean, you could argue that he wasn't Santa Claus, but he did bring the good message at the end, family and all that kind of stuff.
One of Santa's special helpers. And then the number 1 for me, Miracle on 34th Street from 1994. I know this is a remake.
94.
I know it's a remake of the original from whatever 1845 or whatever. But Richard Attenborough. For me, the reason why I picked this one is because this was the movie that came out when I was I was 6 when this movie came out, and I have just very vivid memories of this movie in particular. Maybe above all other Santa movies, this was the one that kind of made me believe in the magic.
So he filmed this pretty much the same time he did Jurassic Park. Because Jurassic Park was 93 and that's 94.
I would have to do some investigating.
Wow, we had a good couple of years.
Yeah, kind of very different. A couple of very different things. Number one for you, Chris.
Well, obviously,
Tim Allen.
Dick already mentioned, Tim Allen from Santa Claus. I just love those movies. Like you said, it's a great origin story, an unusual way to tell the story, and there really isn't any other Christmas movie like the first one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Number one on my list for sure.
Definitely.
What was your number 2, Connor?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1964.
Well, you said claymation. My third one is Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
So I really enjoy that movie. It was cool. Again, like it's the Santa Claus story is always told, but now there's such a few way to tell a unique Christmas story that it actually is good.
Do you have trouble getting through that movie? Does it feel, because it's 85 minutes, but doesn't it feel like 3 hours?
Well, there is a lot. The pacing's kind of off.
Yeah.
So it didn't really go anywhere right in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then it starts going somewhere like towards, like right against the end, it's like full blast. We're getting the stories going.
See, every time I turn it on, I make it like through the first 20 minutes, and then I'm like,
yeah,
I gotta turn it off.
But yeah, those are the 3 movies for Santa.
All right, I've got a Christmas movie to assign each of you if you haven't already seen it. In my research, 2 other movies came up. One was very Chris, one was very Dick, and I would like for both of you to watch these if you haven't. Well, you're about to find out. There's one called Santa's Sleigh. Have you seen that
with
from
Bill
2000?
Goldberg? Is it Bill Goldberg, the wrestler?
Well, it's spelled S-L-A-Y, Santa's Sleigh.
Yeah. I think I've seen
that.
The
plot is, instead of bringing toys to kids around the world, this Santa, born of a virgin birth orchestrated by Satan, has an insatiable desire to murder people in increasingly grotesque ways.
But isn't it the wrestler, Bill Goldberg?
Well, I honestly, I didn't. Let me look real quick, because I didn't look up who all of the actors.
I think I've seen that.
Let me see. Santa's Sleigh. But I thought it was a nice play on words. Yeah, it is Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've seen that.
Is that like the WCW guy? Like Goldberg? Goldberg?
Yep, Goldberg.
So
oh my God.
Yeah. He's Santa and he's evil. Yep.
Okay, so he has an insatiable desire to murder people.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Does it explain why?
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Okay, and then Dick, my movie that felt very you, and you may have seen this one too, because again, it's pretty on point. There's a Mexican Christmas movie called Santa Claus from 1959. Have you heard about this movie?
No.
You need to look into this one. Basically, what it seems to be, and it's too big of a plot to read right there, but it's something about like Santa's doing good stuff, and then all of a sudden it flashes to like hell, and Satan is dispatching his minions to try to turn people against Santa, and there's kind of a Santa versus Satan effect going on here. Very low budget, very strange and interesting. Came up on like some of the kind of Christmas movies you never heard of type list.
I got
but
one.
It's called
for
Santa
you.
Claus 1959 from Mexico.
And you should watch Santa Claus versus the Martians.
I saw that one and didn't. I hadn't heard of it. I saw it on the list. Hadn't never heard of it. Santa Claus versus the Martians. All right. Well, we all have a great assignment to do now. We all have got movies that fill us a holiday cheer.
Well, the next movie I'm going to review is Hellboy.
Okay. The original Hellboy.
So no, the newer one that came out this year. So it's on HBO now. So I
love David Harbour. I hope it's good. Probably not, but I hope it is.
Well, hopefully I'm going to be able to see one of these movies. I'd love to see Star Wars in the next couple days, so I'm hoping to have that. I think next week Dick and I are going to try to get a show, the Bank, that can come out during the Christmas holidays, and then first of the year we'll all 3 be back in studio unless something changes, and then January we'll just see how that goes. But thank y'all for listening this year. Another great year in the books, and we love you all. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas.
The words of NSYNC. Thank you for listening. For Connor, for Dick, for Chris, my name is Connor, signing off on the Ticket Stub.